can you talk about just sort of finding that story core and how that kind of um, works as a guidepost as you work through the various sort of navigate everything that's going on in story?
Um, for Brave, it was truly inspired by my daughter in that, she was 4 or 5 years old while I was working on cars, and every morning we were having that crazy fight to get dressed and get ready for school so I could drop her off and then get to work. And it would just be like, I, I know I wasn't that pushbacky of a kid, with my mom. I just never thought to talk back to my mom the way my daughter was just fighting me in every step of the way. So I would go into work just filled with this, and I thought, boy, this is just taking me over. I need to channel this into something. And for me, the frustrating part was like, we weren't listening to each other. She didn't feel heard and I didn't feel heard. So we were talking over each other. And I realized that was the key there, was that those characters didn't take the time to really listen to what the other one was saying and find that common ground where they could work. It's kind of like our country right now. But so I just started playing with that. And it was always a mother-daughter story, always how they would figure out how to come together, but something extreme had to happen. And I combined that with my love of fairy tales. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if Pixar had their own type of fairy tale? It would be different. There would be no prince. It would be a completely different kind of fairy tale. And but yes, still the marriage issue was in there, but it was like tradition versus new generation, and it was just trying to mix it up. But also that was the reality of princesses, the real princesses. They were basically pawns in the game of power, So how do I do that? And, I had the core of it. I think my initial take would have made a great novel. It was very complicated, lots of ins and outs and turns and twists and everything, but it was too much for a film. So went through a process where we took out a whole subplot that was going on with the witch. The witch had a daughter, and and there was this parallel story going on, but took that away and just focused, and it, became the essence of what Brave is now. And that happened very early on, but sadly it was right after Joe died. Joe was going to be my executive producer and sort of my guru.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
To guide it through. So I was feeling a bit lost because he was the reason I was up there. And but had an amazing team that were really inspired by the fact that the heart of the story was there when they came on, and that's what drew them to the story. And because it was also their first female lead character, and a lot of people with daughters, dads with daughters, mothers with daughters there that were excited to be part of that. So
yeah, it's a little bit of a different approach. We're sort of used to seeing cinematically the father-son dynamic, even in The Lion King, but getting the mother daughter dynamic is really fun and interesting. And so it was different to get a different.
Yeah, it was challenge in that, trying to show women who were struggling with each other, and they weren't just there to be pretty or to win their guy. It was a very different approach. And so I wanted Merida to be able to make faces that weren't always pretty. I wanted her to look kind of like and so to have that. But I also wanted a whole family unit, that's the other thing you don't see much in animation, at least in the old days. The
Yeah.
mother was always dead, it was,
Yeah.
or one of the parents. So it was like having the whole family unit and siblings, and trying to do that was it was fun. It was fun to finally bring something that I'd been kind of chafing against for a while, to just sort of put it all in one film.
Yeah. And again, a delicate thing, because I think it can be very easy to do what you just described and come across as preachy, or come across, yeah, as sort of disgruntled. But you don't in Brave. It's just this fun, again, more nuanced characters who have to be flawed and wrong, um, but neither one you're sort of rooting against. Sort of like
Yeah.
you want the best for both of them, and that's, I think, kind of tricky.
Yeah, and that was a challenge, trying not to make mom the baddie. She
Yeah.
wasn't. I wanted everybody to understand both points of view, and that was kind of my message to mothers and daughters. It's like, look, you kind of understand where Merida's coming from, but hey, teenage girls, you can kind of understand where mom's coming from, and I think the scene that was key to making that work was after the mother threw the bow in the fire and Merida took off, and then she took it out and started crying, regretting that. I think that showed that mom was more than just the disciplinarian and the authoritarian. She had a heart too, and was just trying to figure things out, just like Merida was.
Yeah. Did working on this project at all sort of help you to process kind of what you were experiencing with your own daughter? Did it give you any different perspective, or was it mostly just the other way? Like, okay, here's how I craft the story and here's what I put into it.
Yes, I was so deep into it. But yeah, I was trying to use insights from what I was learning from my daughter. But yet when she hit her teenage years, we still had our, and no amount of Brave was going to change that. It was like, we just had our struggles to deal with, through that. But I often said, boy, if she could turn me into a bear, she'd tell her dad where she could find me. He could find me to shoot me. That's
Yeah.
like, she's behind that tree, go get her.
Yeah, my kids are pretty little right now, but already, starting to see, like, okay, there's some things we're gonna have to navigate as we.
Yeah, but now she's glad she didn't have her dad shoot me behind me. We're pretty close now, so
That would have been
I
regrettable.
got my happy ending too.